The movie begins in the city, where zombie-like creatures called rotters are killing and eating people everywhere. As people run to hide, a reporter tries to cover the event but is soon killed by the rotters along with her cameraman. Chaos and destruction spread through the streets as the rotters show intelligence by breaking windows to reach people hiding. A woman tries to avoid danger while talking to her daughter on the phone, but a rotter chases and eats her. This started 4 hours ago. Medical student Zoe and her classmates are in a lab. The professor asks for theories on how the rotting body in front of her died. Zoe identifies it as influenza but can't specify the type. The professor then asks Zoe to take a blood sample from a patient with unusually high antibody levels. Zoe follows orders but is unhappy to see Max, a patient obsessed with her. As Zoe starts taking the first sample, Max makes creepy comments and refuses to take no for an answer. To Zoe's disgust, he has even tattooed her name on his arm. After taking both samples, Max touches Zoe's thigh, making her uncomfortable. Luckily, her best friend arrives just in time to kick Max out. Zoe then joins a party thrown by the medical students. She hears they are storing beer kegs in the morgue and goes there to help. Once inside, she moves carefully and is startled by a moving body, but it's just a partygoer playing a prank. The guy grabs the first keg and leaves while Zoe grabs the second. Max appears, gets creepy again, and ignores Zoe's protests about their supposed connection. Scared, Zoe screams for help, but Max punches her and starts taking off her clothes. As he licks her face, the rotting body from class wakes up and attacks Max, biting him hard. Zoe runs back to the party, warning everyone about a monster. The partygoers don't believe her until the professor reveals she's infected and bites a student. The rotter from the morgue arrives and continues killing. The partygoers scream and run as the creatures feed or vomit on people's faces. Zoe climbs through a window to save her best friend but is bitten by the professor. More rotters jump on her best friend, who is eaten and infected, forcing Zoe to flee. 5 years later, the world has changed dramatically. The rotter outbreak has become a global pandemic, and the few survivors live in refugee camps. Zoe survived and was assigned to High Rock Bunker, a military intelligence and recon station in the mountains. The base is fenced, and soldiers shoot rotters that get too close. Zoe's mission is to gather information about the rotters for the CDC, though they haven't been heard from in a year. Lieutenant Miguel thinks Zoe's research is a waste of time, but Zoe remains optimistic and continues her research with her assistant Elise. Her medical knowledge also makes her the base's doctor. One morning, Zoe checks on a sick child named Lily, who hasn't improved despite medication. After examining her, Zoe rushes to meet with Miguel and the council, informing them that Lily has bacterial pneumonia. Zoe wants to go with a team to her old medical lab at the university to gather supplies to save Lily. Miguel initially refuses, saying it's too risky to go beyond their usual search area for one person. Furious, Zoe argues that the infection could spread and kill the survivors, forcing Miguel to agree. After the meeting, Zoe is visited by Miguel's brother Baca, who is also her boyfriend. They start getting frisky, but Zoe remembers Max's attack and stops Baca, not explaining why. The next day, Zoe leaves with 2 teams led by Baca. Outside the base, there are a few dead rotters, but nothing else is seen during most of the trip. Midway, one car breaks down, forcing a stop and repair. The dense forest makes it hard to spot approaching rotters, so they need to hurry. Night falls before the vehicle is fixed. They hear growling and rustling from the forest, raising their tension. Fortunately, they finish the repair and rush inside. The car fails to start, and a rotter appears at the window. Before a horde arrives, the cars start and they leave safely. Hours later, they reach the university. Baca splits the team, half guards the entrance, the rest escort Zoe through the building. Blood and debris are everywhere, but the pharmacy is locked and safe. Zoe knows the password, opening it for medicine. She finds her old lab, retrieves personal items, and is startled when a rotter appears. She shoots to scare it and escapes, leaving behind her hair tie. The rotter, Max, finds it and recognizes her. Gunshots alert other rotters, causing chaos. Baca's team finds Zoe and prepares to leave, but rotters catch up and attack Frank, biting his neck. The others shoot the rotters but more attack Frank. He tells his team to leave, using his last breath to fight rotters. The team returns to the bunker unaware Max hid under a car. Distracted by Baca's report, Max sneaks away. Miguel scolds them for losing a soldier, and Frank's girlfriend blames Zoe. Max hides among the trees, observing kids playing outside the fence. A guard sends them in, but a kid remains behind. Max kills the guard and sneaks into the bunker. Avoiding soldiers, he hides in the vents and tracks Zoe using her hair tie. Zoe delivers medicine to Lily and later runs into Max, who blocks her way. She activates the intruder alarm before Max corners her. He shows his name, but instead of biting her, he gets handsy. Soldiers arrive, and Max is shot. Zoe requests they keep him alive for her research. Baca nets and chains Max in the lab. Miguel is skeptical, but Zoe proves Max is alive and could help with a vaccine. Frank's girlfriend pleads for Max to be kept alive. Miguel reluctantly agrees but orders soldiers to shoot at any trouble. Later, Elise and Zoe review Max's scans, finding some human functions remain. They need a blood sample. Elise guards while Zoe pretends to flirt with Max to take the sample. Baca then checks on Zoe, making Max angry. Zoe explains Max's blood has high hormone levels, which might stop the virus, but she needs samples from other rotters. Baca is reluctant but agrees. They wait until dark to take samples without Miguel knowing. Baca's team lets a rotter inside, which is quickly subdued. Zoe takes a blood sample, and Baca shoots the rotter. They let in another rotter, but as Zoe samples it, more rotters gather and overpower the soldiers. The soldiers fire and retreat to their cars. Elise is bitten as they leave, and the rotters follow. At the bunker, Miguel finds Max and sees his name, suspecting Max is Zoe's lover. The alarm sounds, and Miguel rushes to the entrance as the cars arrive. He and other soldiers fire at the rotters, managing to close the gate before they enter. Miguel then notices Elise's bite and takes out his gun. Zoe points out that the infection hasn't spread and her vaccine might cure her since it wasn't a head bite. Doubting the vaccine, Miguel shoots Elise in the head. A furious Zoe yells, and Miguel turns his gun on her, but Baca calms him down. Miguel gives Zoe 12 hours to finish her experiment before he kills Max too. Baca follows Miguel, asking about his attitude. Miguel mentions Max's name and implies Zoe is cheating, leading Baca to seek an explanation from Zoe. Jo confesses Max's actions and the trauma she endures. Hurt by Baca's lack of trust, she leaves. In the lab, Zoe continues her research as two soldiers bring her a drink. One soldier insults Max, causing Max to grab her by the neck and slam her head against the wall. The other soldier pulls them apart, and Max seizes the chance to steal the chain key. After the soldiers leave, Max calls out to Zoe and claims her, but she ignores him and works on her research. Hours later, Zoe confirms Max's blood can be used as a vaccine and fight the virus before it reaches the brain. Max breaks free with the key and starts choking Zoe. She throws chemicals in his face and escapes. She finds the soldiers and sends them to the lab, only to discover Max is gone. The alarm rings again, telling civilians to stay in the township. Lily, scared, searches for an adult and finds Wendy transformed into a rotter. A chase ensues. Lily bumps into a soldier who is bitten by Wendy. Cornered, Lily is saved by Max, who kills Wendy. Miguel tells the civilians everything is under control and orders Baca's team to kill Max even if the vaccine isn't ready. Zoe searches for Lily, grabbing a gun from a fallen soldier. She discovers Max has kidnapped Lily and wants Zoe in exchange. Zoe threatens to self-delete, enraging Max, but she puts the gun down, and he releases Lily. Max captures Zoe and opens the gates for the rotters. Some rotters try to bite Zoe, but Max protects her. The soldiers arrive and open fire, killing rotters. Miguel shoots Max, who lets Zoe go. A rotter finds Lily, who runs out of the bunker with Zoe following. Max pursues them as soldiers continue shooting, but there are too many rotters. The rotters kill the guard by the door, allowing them to enter the bunker and kill civilians. Despite the guards' efforts, many fall. One soldier, bitten in the neck, is shot by her partner. At the main gate, Baca is bitten in the arm but kills the last rotter. Miguel closes the gates, and Baca tries to stop him for Zoe's sake, but Miguel threatens to shoot. Two rotters attack Miguel, and a third attacks Baca. Baca fights and shoots them but is bitten again. Zoe finds Lily, and they hide in the greenhouse. Max sees them and enters, following Zoe's scent. He finds her jacket, but it's a trap. Zoe emerges and attacks him with a gardening knife, opening his stomach and decapitating him. Zoe and Lily return inside to find Baka about to self-delete. Zoe convinces him to wait since the infection hasn't spread, giving her time to finish the vaccine. Zoe gives Baka her first vaccine attempt, which works. She uses his antibodies to produce more and sends a radio message inviting people to the bunker for the vaccine. The survivors begin rebuilding, hopeful for the future.